have a lot of clients who get very discouraged by this one. The rep ranges are going to be a little bit higher. Forward, we're going to be putting lots of emphasis right here. Hello YouTube! Back to my channel. I'm so excited for today because I am showing you all of my favorite lower body lifts. Now, I shouldn't say all of them, but majority of them, because I only do about 4 or 5 exercises a lift. I might do 6 today just so I can show you all of my workouts or all my favorite lifts, because I am going to be doing a mic'd up, so I'm going to be going a little more in depth, because I think the mic'd ups are just so much fun for me because I love talking about the exercises themselves, and it's harder to do that when I do a voiceover rather than just explaining it while I'm right there doing the movement. So I'm super excited. I think you'll find this very helpful. All my favorite lower body lifts. We're hitting the full lower, quads, glutes, hammies, calves. We're doing it all. So let's go. We're going to start with a calf raise. This technically isn't part of my workout, but I like to do these to warm up for my deep squats. I used to not like to get depth in my squat, and now it's like my favorite thing to do. So I think something that doesn't really get talked about very much is your ankle mobility, which is so important. Once I started focusing on my ankle mobility, I could get deeper in my squat. My knee pain literally went away. So incorporating something like this before you try to do a deep squat, I think can be very beneficial, because we're trying to get a really good stretch here in the back of the ankle. What we really want to be focusing in this movement is this part right here, this bottom part of the stretch. We want to take this nice and slow, because we're really only going to be doing about 1 or 2 sets. Okay, so we are going to start with a squat movement. If you had seen my last YouTube video, you already kind of had an idea of what's coming. I'm going to be using this really unique squat machine. I know not a lot of gyms have this, so I would say personally, I think the next best thing is going to be a Smith squat, heel elevated ideally, because we are going to try to get some depth today. I personally think for hypertrophy based, trying to build muscle mass, stability is super important. So that is why I am reaching for this type of equipment today, because I'm trying to focus on hypertrophy. So here is the movement, and I do want to give you a heads up. Everyone's depth is going to look a little bit different, and that is going to be based upon what your mobility is looking like. So there are a lot of things that go into this. So my biggest piece of advice, and I sound like a broken record, I'm going to be saying that a lot today, but you just take it slow. Figure out your form before you move up on the weight. All right, we got some weight on this bad boy. So like I said, you always need to start with a warm-up set. I have more of a narrow stance for my squat, personal preference, and it just works best for my body. Obviously, everyone's a little bit different, so you're gonna have to play with your foot stance to find what feels most comfortable for you, and make sure whatever foot stance is giving you the best form, okay? So obviously, I like to get a lot of depth in my squat, so I come down here because, again, I just kept working on my ankle mobility. You don't want this lower back to round. If this lower back is rounding, that means you're probably going down too far, then your mobility is going to allow. So find where your limits are and stick with that, and don't add weight until you are comfortable with the movement, okay? I cannot stress that enough. So driving knees over toes, keeping your back straight, core engaged, and driving up. You need to push yourself out of your comfort zone. Try to get a little more. Alright, so that's a wrap. This one's tricky. I have a lot of clients who get very discouraged by this one because it's not supposed to be easy. It's not going to feel really natural at first, but once you get a hang of it, it's going to be a game changer for you. Also, I want to mention this bar is on my upper back, not on my neck. That's going to put a lot of pressure on the spine. Really tight core and hinge forward. We're going to be putting lots of emphasis right here at the glute. And then also when you're down right here, you want your legs to both be around 90 degrees. So move around if you need, push this back, push it forward. Just make sure you're getting your form down before you continue and add any weight. And I do feel like I sound like a broken record on this one, but you do not need a high platform, especially with glute focus. If we were doing a quad focus split squat, I would understand as to why you would want to elevate your back foot a little bit more just for more depth, but we are doing a glute focus split squat today because this is truly my favorite way to hit the glutes in a split squat. So also here is a side angle as well because again, I think seeing it from the side is super helpful. So you're going to have to, again, play around with foot position. So for glute focus, I'm really hinging forward at the hip and driving up. So coming down, hinging forward. I'm using the full foot to push myself back up, not just my heel. So driving down and driving up. I'm actually going to move my foot back a little bit. Again, you have to play around with the movement. Keep your core engaged the whole entire time. There are a few machines in here that I really like to use, but I just was thinking, it's been a while since I've shown a RDL with dumbbells, so I think these are really great for beginners or those with just limited equipment, so I decided to demonstrate those today. So you want to just have a very natural starting position. You're just going to be standing here with the dumbbells. Everyone's stance is going to look slightly different. I, again, like more of a narrow stance. So a few things here to keep note of as we go down into the movement. You want to keep your chest up. You want to keep your core engaged, your neck in line with your back and your spine. I don't really tuck. Don't do this. I just keep it nice and aligned. Another thing I want to mention is I don't actively pull my shoulder blades back. I just have again, just keep your chest up. Some people might come here, some people might go a little bit lower. You're gonna have to just find what works for you. Obviously you can build up on the depth, so take it light and slow. And the dumbbells are gonna be practically gliding against my legs the whole time. So just keep that in mind. You don't want the dumbbells going out in front of your body. You wanna keep them close. Alright, so here's a side profile because I want you to see just how straight my back is and just how aligned my spine is, because it's super important that you're not overarching your back or you're not bringing your shoulders forward. So maintain the upright posture, core engaged, chest up. Dumbbells are going to glide down, sending your hips back like you're shutting a door behind you. So you're sending your hips back. Again, everyone's step is going to look different and you're going to drive up. Notice how the dumbbells are at an angle. Also want to note on these that the heavier you go, I would suggest using lifting straps. I don't like to necessarily rely on lifting straps, but the heavier you go, I do think they're super beneficial because our grip tends to give out before our glutes do. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you do have wrist straps, I think that'll be beneficial as you progress the weight. Next, we are going to be doing a quad isolation, and of course it is going to be the leg extension. I think this is the best quad isolation exercise there is. One thing with this though, since we aren't lifting as heavy, the rep ranges are going to be a little bit higher. Really focusing on that mind to muscle connection. That's going to be super important here. So, and I can imagine that your leg press machine is going to look a little bit different than this one. This one is pretty unique. I know a lot of public gyms don't have one like this, but a regular leg extension is just as good. So I like to lean back my chair just to get a little bit more of a stretch here in the quad. Again, we're going to be taking these nice and slow and controlled. Ideally, you have handles right here. Most of them do, so use those handles to make sure your butt is not coming off the seat. So I have a hair clip in. It's a little uncomfortable, but we're going to make it work. Okay. Pause at the top, and then we're doing a slow eccentric. This one's all about the mind to muscle connection. It's really easy to move quickly on these, but you don't need to be swinging the weight around. And I want you to pause at the top and really contract the quads. I don't know what number I'm at. Also, don't look at the bottom of my feet. I'm sure they are filthy. Oh, shoot. Ugh. I like to put the strap like right here, rather than on my actual ankle. So if you don't have ankle straps, you can use a handle that looks like this. This can be kind of tricky because it definitely will slip, but that's kind of what that would look like if you do, or if you do not have ankle straps. But if you do have ankle straps, that is definitely going to be the most optimal. A lot of similar cues with all of these exercises. Core engaged, we're going to be keeping neutral spine. Really focus on hinging forward here at the hip, getting a nice stretch here to start out with, and then you're going to be driving back. Okay, so one thing I have to say about this that not everyone is probably going to like or agree on, when you come back, I'm not like necessarily squeezing my glute, I am just maintaining tension, if that makes sense. So I'm coming back. My foot is going to be at a 45-degree angle away from my other foot, away from my body. So bringing that foot out, coming back, and just keeping tension right here in the glute all the way down until I get here, and still keeping the tension, constant tension, not necessarily squeezing, because sometimes when you fully squeeze your glute, you just unsqueeze it and then you lose the tension. I don't know. I really hope that makes sense. It's kind of something that I learned over time that is hard to describe, but I think is really important to know. So maybe just give it a try if you kind of have an idea of what I'm trying to say. All right, that is a wrap. I would be lying if I felt like my strength was 100% here today, but that doesn't matter because we got it done and I'm feeling better now than I did on the way in. So if you made it this far, I love you, greatly appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one.